And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking Andretti's revenge on Formula One. So apparently F1 owner, Liberty Media, the people that own the commercial rights to F1, bought it from Bernie Ecclestone, they are facing now something that Microsoft was quite used to back in the 90s, an antitrust probe over the Andretti rejection into Formula One. Interesting stuff. So the United States Department of Justice is officially looking into the time when F1 said no for Michael Andretti, and let's be fair, without any decent reasons. We've read them to you before. Now, Liberty Media have announced that it is facing an investigation by the US Department of Justice over rejecting Andretti's Global's Formula One bid. So the CEO, Greg Maffei, confirmed in what was a quarterly earnings call that the company owning Formula One is officially being probed by the Justice Department's Antitrust Division over the legality of F1 refusing entry to Michael Andretti's team. I am smiling about that, and I'll tell you why in a bit. So partnering General Motors brand, as we know, Cadillac, Andretti's been long pushing for an F1 team entry. Many suggested maybe they should buy into Alpine. Could still happen, but essentially they were all ready to go as an 11th team, setting up a Silverstone base even, and going on what was a widespread recruiting spree, which includes former Formula One man Pat Simmons. Now, while the FIA accepted, and this is the two-tier thing, FIA have to accept, and then Formula One, the commercial one, has to accept. So initially the FIA accepted Andretti Global's bid on a technical level. F1 itself kept the door, well, let's be fair, very much shut on the American team, because it didn't feel Andretti could become competitive in the medium term, and therefore wouldn't provide enough commercial value to the series. Andretti, Michael Andretti, Mario Andretti, a former American F1 champion, F1 3 races in America, a name even more so, not belittling us, but a name synonymous with motorsport, wouldn't provide enough commercial value to the series, with all those potential new American sponsors sponsoring what they would seem, what seems as a more American team, I think, than Haas would, once again, not being horrible to Haas. But F1 teams have also been reluctant to accept Andretti because they would rather share their prize pool, share their prize pool with what is an additional entry in the prize pool. Imagine a piece of cake, and instead of 10 pieces that everyone gets, it's going to be split into 11. Problem? Maybe for some, but not so much now, I think, ultimately, when you have the budget cap, which is really, I think, working quite nicely. But Maffei said that Liberty Media would cooperate with the department. Well, they've got no choice, really, have they? Let's be fair, because I believe Liberty Media are an American company. So it's nice that he comes out and says, yes, I'm going to cooperate with the Department of Justice, and was confident F1 hasn't breached any US regulations. I mean, that's going to be a really interesting one, isn't it? So it's nice that Liberty Media announced they're going to cooperate with the American Department of Justice. So thank you. I'm sure they're very happy about that. Now, the Wall Street, he told the Wall Street Journal, apparently, the Maffei, looking at Andretti, as you saw this morning, we announced that there is a DOJ, justice investigation. We intend to fully cooperate with that investigation, including any related requests for information. He carries on by saying, we believe our determination, F1's determination, was in compliance with all the applicable US antitrust laws, and we've detailed the rationale for our decision vis-a-vis Andretti in prior statements. Maffei reiterated that F1 and Liberty Media aren't ruling out accepting an expansion team if it ticks all the boxes. The problem is a lot of people think it did. A lot of people were shocked that they said no. I know the teams weren't particularly happy. More teams means more drivers, means more racing. And we're at a level now in Formula One where, unlike even in the mid-90s, where sometimes 6-7 seconds were like the field, now the field's covered by just a couple of seconds. And he said, we are certainly not against the idea that any expansion is wrong. I'm afraid you are, by the looks of it. But he said there is a methodology for expansion that requires approval from the FIA, which approved Andretti, and F1, which didn't. Both groups have to find the criteria met, which a lot of people felt, including myself, they did. We're certainly open to new entrants. No, you're not. Making applications. No, you're not. And potentially being approved if these requirements are met. No, you're not. Liberty Media, F1, you're not. Because I feel that the Andretti thing proved that. I mean, other than, I think the only thing better than the Andretti would be a full-on works Toyota bid, a full-on works Porsche 3W, Audi bid coming in. Yes, Audi have now bought the Sauber team, but that seems to be the only thing that's going to be in the works. So in May, the chairman of the United States House Judiciary Committee opened a probe into Liberty Media's denial of Andretti's F1 entry in an escalation of political interest. And it happened just days after the patriarch Mario Andretti appeared on Capitol Hill, which led to Republican Jim Jordan writing to F1 owners demanding explanations for the decision-making process that has blocked Andretti's hopes. So surely, I mean, this is the thing. I don't want to get into why is exactly they got denied, but it was a bunch of really silly reasons. And antitrust. But what is antitrust? Well, antitrust laws, they're the regulations that encourage competition by limiting the market power of any particular firm. And this often involves ensuring that mergers and acquisitions don't overly concentrate market power or form monopolies, as well as breaking up firms that have become monopolies. Okay, so you could argue that Formula One is a monopoly. No, they're not going to break it up. But getting into Formula One, the teams, you can make a good argument that those 10 teams have a monopoly on Formula One. They have a monopoly in respect of Andretti not getting into Formula One. I understand why I kind of understand. But Andretti ticked all the boxes, didn't they? Why did Andretti not get into F1? I mean, Andretti bids. Let's have a look at this. Why Andretti doesn't accept the F1? Okay, let's have a look. ESPN probably is as good a place as any to start as to why Andretti didn't get into Formula One. The fact that F1 raised doubts over Andretti's competitiveness, that was one of the reasons. I mean, let's be fair, what an absolute joke. That was their main reason. And bearing in mind, this year you had a team, I love Williams, I love James Vowles, but they couldn't race the car because they didn't have a spare chassis. You've got a team, Stakeholder, love them. I love all the Formula One teams, it's great. Stake, Audi, F1, the new Audi team, they didn't have a clue about the pit stops. The pit stops were too long. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So I'm so cross. I am actually going to go through. I've made myself really angry now. So I am just going to get ready to share the screen because I am absolutely going to go through why they rejected. Let's have a look, show. This is the BBC Sport article. And once again, let's remind ourselves, let's do something that I said I wasn't going to do, and remind ourselves as to why they got rejected. This is from the BBC website, so we know it's good. There's a very sad Michael Andretti, and rightly so. So Formula One rejected the American Andretti bids to enter the sport in the next 2 years, but it left the door open for 2028. But the problem is, prior, I think, to 2028, or in 2028, there'll be a new commercial agreement, a new Concord agreement that will probably block any F1 team from going out there, because all about money. Yes, money. So that's what the teams want, and I believe they want to block another team from coming in. So F1, and this is absolute proof why, including Formula One. F1 conducted analysis involving key stakeholders and decided the 11th team would not on its own add value. Okay, if it was any F1 team, maybe. F1 does not believe the applicant would be a competitive participant. Well, we've already proven that potentially wrong. Yes, it is all conjecture and hearsay, but still, there's every potential that they could be competitive. Look at how Haas came in. Yes, it is difficult coming into Formula One, but Andretti has more behind them, more backing than Haas even did. Andretti said it strongly disagrees, and GM, which is backing Andretti through its luxury Cadillac brand, has said it builds on its own. F1 said before that stage, the need for any new team to take a compulsory power unit supply, potentially over a period of several seasons, would be damaging to the prestige and standing of the championship. I mean, what tosh are they saying? The need for any new team to take a compulsory power unit supply. That kind of means that all the teams have to be in a position to give power supplies. Now, I know the irony here is that Renault said if you get in, we'll give you an engine, and that seemed to be kind of still standing prior to this. And the fact that they can't have their own engine, but McLaren don't have their own engine, do they? And it's not a works engine. Currently, Aston Martin don't, Williams don't, Haas don't, currently Sauber don't. The only works engine teams you've got with the engine, with works teams is Red Bull, kind of sort of with Honda, but not in 2024. Mercedes, Ferrari, I think. Yeah, Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, and I forgot Alpine, of course, with the Renault. So all the other teams come under the fact that they don't have a proper works power unit supply, and they're using another teams essentially, which is not too dissimilar to what they're saying. And it also dismissed the argument that Andretti name associated with both the 1978 F1 champion Mario Michael and an IndyCar legend former F1 driver was a compelling addition. What? In a series that has let's just be, I'm not going to name names, but some classic not very good drivers, some not very good drivers, not great drivers, let's say, still there. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Andretti would also other factors taken into account where the operational burden on race promoters would subject some to significant costs. Okay, but F1 can have, in the Concord Agreement, they can have 12 teams. So what's the problem? When you look at the tracks, they have more garage spaces. How do we know? Well, the Apex F1 team with Brad Pitt, they took a whole garage at Silverstone, and they've taken, I believe, some other racetracks. It's absolutely ridiculous. So it's pathetic for Formula One. It makes me really cross, because here was a bid, and unless there's something they're not telling us, unless there's something that they're not telling us, it's an absolutely ridiculous rejection of Andretti's Formula One team. So I hope this goes all the way through, and I really hope Andretti win. Will they? I have absolutely no idea. But based, once again, on some of the reasons why Liberty Media / F1 said no, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, because you can equate all those reasons to at least a couple at some point over the last 2-3 years of the current Formula One teams. I mean, just look at the disaster that was Red Bull Racing with all their controversy, at the top level, at the bottom level and above, the mechanics of the end, the engineers, amazing F1 team, the drivers, well, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, still a work in progress, clearly. But yeah, I just don't get it. Anyway, if you liked what you see, please give us a subscribe, give us a like. It does make a difference. It does make me smile. If you comment, I try to respond to as many comments as I can, normally all of them if I can. And if you don't want to miss a video, hit that bell icon, that notification button, so you don't miss a video. We do Formula One, we do rally, we do touring cars, currently the odd bit of gaming. We'll speak to you soon. Thank you. Stay safe. Speak to you next time.